Greetings, Nerdlings. Kiora. I'm coming to you live today from inside Audify, which is the field house that I've been staying at. So, real quick, I wanted to show you what's behind me, which is the sunset, and it's amazing. So, I don't know if you can see right here, but this is kind of my view from the deck. So, we have snowy mountains in the background, a beautiful sunset getting started, and a little bit of wind today. So this is what I get to wake up to every morning and what I get to go to bed to before I go to sleep at night. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so in this podcast, I'm going to be talking to you about what my main job here was for the summer, which was skippering the Kiko Rangi. So what is a skipper? Well, basically, it's like the captain of a boat. The only difference is that a captain is an actual office or position. So skippering the boat means that I'm in charge of the boat and driving it and making sure everybody is safe on it. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we get the boat into the water, we have to get it hitched up to the truck. And we call this truck right here Miss Susie. So I'm directing Heidi right here, backing up the truck so we can hitch it up to the trailer and get Susie down to the boat ramp so we can launch her and hopefully see some dusky dolphins. So once we get to the boatyard, Heidi has to be extremely careful about navigating around with the Kiko Rangi attached to her. The boatyard is a pretty busy place. There's a lot of larger boats there as well. We're one of the smaller vessels that you see. So this is just an example of some of the larger vessels. This thing right here, this is a huge trailer that a boat belongs to. So this boat right now is in the water. And if you see way over here in the corner, this is a tractor. So they don't even have trucks that pull these trailers. They actually have tractors that are pretty much permanently attached to them. And their sole job is to get the boat and then back it back out of the ramp and pick it back up off of the ramp after those boats go out. So this is our boat, the Kiko Rangi. We're getting her ready. So before we launch her, we have to put all of our stuff into her. So if you see right here, this is Adrian's head. Hey, Adrian. And he's going to be handing stuff into the boat, and I'll be on the boat getting all of the cameras, a lot of the equipment, and that type of thing, including the most important part, which is our lunch. So here I am getting my Mustang suit on, and if you see right here, Heidi's already starting to back up the Kiko Rangi. So while she's backing the Kiko Rangi up onto the ramp, I actually have to scramble to get my Mustang suit on. So I'm traveling in the boat while she's backing it up, and I'm pulling my Mustang suit on as fast as I can. That way, whenever she gets all the way back down to the ramp and the boat's in the water, I'm ready to go. So after we back the boat up into the water, there are several things that have to happen. So first of all, I am going to be standing and I am going to be revving this guy right here into forward, which seems a little counterproductive, but Adrian's job is actually to detach the boat. And there's like this cable that you have to detach the boat with. So me revving forward is actually going to help him get that off. The second that he gets that off, he gives me a big thumbs up, and that signifies that I am loose. So I then throw it into neutral, then into reverse, and I back the boat up into the marina. And this right here that you guys are looking at is what my viewpoint is of the boat. So obviously we have the steering wheel. Right here is the throttle. So this is going to allow me to go forward, neutral, or in reverse. If I throw this up, I'm going to go forward. If I throw it into the middle, that's going to be neutral, kind of just idling. And then if I throw it down right here, it's going to go into reverse. This button right here that you see that says up or down, this is actually helping me to raise and lower the propeller. So whenever we are backing the boat off the trailer down the ramp, I actually have to have the propeller raised pretty high, because if I put it down all of the way, it's going to scrape against the bottom, and we don't want that. Right here you guys see this is actually a GPS. So Heidi has programmed Transect lines into the GPS, which allows me to follow them. And while we're on the Transect lines, everybody is observing to see if we can find any dusky dolphins. This also tells me where I am so I don't get lost. And then these right here tell us the amount of gas that we have, as well as the speed that we're going in knots. And after we back the boat off the trailer, I kind of hang out here in the marina. This is some of the first few days that we were out. This is Alistair. So I do have some future or past boating experience driving in Admiralty Bay around dolphins and helping the research team out there as well. However, that was in a nice little cove and it was similar to a lake. There was never a lot of rough waves or swell or anything like that. So whenever I got to New Zealand, we got a native Kiwi to help me out. So Alistair basically kind of showed me the lay of the land. And that was very important because he showed me where some of the reefs that you don't see are, as well as rocks and that type of thing that someone who's not from Kaikoura wouldn't know. And I might have run the boat into them if I hadn't known they were there. So he helped me out a lot getting prepared and trained to be driving up in the open ocean in Kaikoura. So Alistair was an amazing trainer. So right here, we're basically waiting for the rest of the team to arrive because once we launch the boat, they have to actually take the trailer and the truck all the way to the other end of the boatyard and they have to hike all the way back up. So this is us waiting for them. Once everybody is in the boat, we start driving our Transect lines. Those are the lines that we go through on the GPS while we're looking for the Duskies. And sometimes it gets really cold. So that's why you guys see me here in my creepy little robber head mask. And Dr. Pearson right here is putting on her really thick gloves. This was one of the colder days that we were out. And it was freezing. So another thing that I had to learn that was different from driving in Admiralty Bay with the Dusky Dolphin research team was navigating in very unfavorable conditions. Sometimes when we head out, the water is awesome, but when you're coming back in, sometimes the weather changes, and it can change pretty quickly. So here, I've actually had to deal with and drive in up to 7 feet, not meters, into 7-foot swells, as well as a lot of chop, some winds and things like that. So it was definitely interesting learning how to skipper a boat and some of the different conditions that I'd never driven in before. But I always got everybody home safely. So another big part of my job was navigating with the pod of dusky dolphins. So as you can see right here, I'm driving the boat and I look a lot more serious than I normally do because I have to be very, very focused. This pod that we're driving with right here was about 300 dusky dolphins. So that was a huge pod. And one of the things that I have to do is make sure that I'm not cutting the dolphins off. Obviously, I don't want to hit them, but I don't want to cut them off because it's going to affect their natural behavior. So I have to be very careful about it. I also have to line up the boat in a good position for whoever is taking photo IDs at the time to have the light on the correct side of the dorsal fins so they can identify the dolphins by their dorsal fins. This is another shot of the large pod of dusky dolphins that I was driving with. So again, I had to be very careful. These guys are extremely agile and they can change directions really quickly. So you always have to be on your toes so you can navigate the boat with them. And right here you see they're all kind of in a leap. This is called a starburst. So you'll kind of see all of them go underwater and then all of a sudden it's just like BAM! They shoot up out of the water and they're going really, really fast. Dusky dolphins are also known for their leaps. So this is a picture that Heidi Pearson took of a dusky dolphin leaping. This is another one that I took, and behind the dusky dolphin is actually a tour boat run by the Dolphin Encounter Company. So once we're done for the day with our transect lines and that type of thing, we want to get in before sunset. So again, I hang out here. I go ahead and I dock my boat here. That way everybody can get off. And Heidi, Adrian, anyone else who's on the boat, they get off. And they go back to the truck, take their Mustang suits off, and they have to drive the trailer back for me to drive up onto. So while they're there, I kind of hang out here with some of the whale watch boats. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Sometimes I mill my boat around here, stare off into space for a while. If I get really bored, I snap some selfies on the boat. And hopefully, at the end of it, we will have a very wonderful end to a successful day, and we will have gotten some follows on dolphins, and hopefully, in the future, we're going to be tagging some of these guys. So,
one thing I also wanted to talk about was that all of the photos that we take, whether it's myself, Adrian, Heidi, or Kristen, all of them are taken under a dock permit that was awarded to Dr. Pearson. So not just anyone can drive boats in the middle of a dolphin pod. You have to have a special permit from the Department of Conservation called DOC here in New Zealand. So Heidi had to go through a lot of trouble to get this permit in order to allow us to drive up that close to the animals. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time for shout-outs. For my whole life, most of you guys know that I absolutely love marine biology, and I absolutely love teaching too. And I just wanted to give a huge thanks and a huge shout-out to some of the people that inspired me to come here and helped me out along the way for teaching as well as marine biology. So here we go. First of all, I would love to get a huge shout out to Dr. Heidi Pearson. She has been a huge part of probably the 3 best summers of my life. I had the privilege of being with her on the Dusky Dolphin research team 8 years ago. So this is a picture of the 2 of us from 8 years ago in Admiralty Bay. This is last year in Alaska when I got to visit her and go glacier trekking. And this is a picture of us from this current summer on the Transect lines while Alistair was driving for the Dusky Dolphin Research Project here in Kaikoura. I would, of course, love to thank my mom and dad. You guys have always been so supportive of me in everything that I've done, whether it's teaching or marine biology. And you guys were always there pushing me, and you guys are always proud of me, and I love you. And, of course, I would like to give a shout out to my amazing husband, Jim Butcher, for always being supportive, whether it's in the classroom, doing the iPad competition and buying an iPad for my top student each year, coming in, speaking with my students, letting some of my students intern with you at your business, and especially for being supportive of me, because not everybody's okay with their wife going halfway across the world and driving a boat around for 6 weeks in the summer. So thank you so much, and I love you. And of course, a huge shout out and thanks again to all of my little nerdlings. You guys inspire me so much, not only to be a teacher, but to follow my dreams. And you guys, along with all of the other people I've mentioned and many more, have helped me realize that I can have both things that I love in my life. I adore teaching, and I also love marine biology, and you guys have inspired me to do both. I get to teach, and I also get to do marine biology this summer, so I'd say I have a pretty awesome life, and you guys are a huge part of that. And of course, last but certainly not least, Mr. Mark Hedge. I would love to give a huge shout out to him. He has probably been the most inspiring person in my entire life, whether it has been inspiring me to become a teacher just like him. He was my biology teacher in high school, and he inspired me not only to become a teacher, but to pursue my dream of marine biology. And he was there pushing me, kicking and screaming along the way sometimes, because every once in a while I'd lose my way, and he was always there to ground me and make sure that I followed my path that I needed to follow. So thank you so much, and I love you, Mr. Hedge, and you have been a huge part of who I am and the type of teacher I am and the type of person I am. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my podcast and enjoyed the little bit of a different shout out that I gave this time. So if you guys like these podcasts and want to follow me and my little nerdlings, you can follow me on Twitter at Queen Nerdling, or you can like my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/nerdlingscience. And also, I'm going to be doing a series of video lectures for AP Environmental Science and eventually AP Biology. And those can all be found at my new website, www.nerdlingscience.com. Well, this is the Queen Nerdling signing out for today. Stay nerdy until next time.